My daughter gave me a brand new tablet for my 68th birthday. I took it to my grandson's house to ask him how to use it. He works as a cybersecurity analyst. He looked at the tablet for about 5 minutes. Then his face suddenly turned pale. "Grandpa," he said quietly, "we need to call the police. Someone installed spyware on this before you even opened the box." I didn't believe him. I couldn't. The tablet was a gift from my daughter. But 11 days later, when I found out what she was really planning, I realized the birthday gift was never meant to be a gift. It was a weapon meant to take everything I owned, including my freedom. Hello friends, and thank you for joining us today on *Golden Vengeance Star. If this story connects with you, please like the video and subscribe for more real-life stories about betrayal and justice. Leave a comment telling us where you are watching from. We love hearing from people across Canada and around the world. A quick note, some details in this story have been changed to protect privacy, but the lessons and warnings are very real. Any similarity to real names or places is purely coincidental. I turned 68 on a Saturday in late October. Most of the trees in Ontario were already bare. I woke up alone in my house in Oakville, just as I had every morning for the past 4 years since Margaret passed away. The coffee maker clicked on at 7 a.m., and I slowly walked to the kitchen wearing my old University of Toronto sweatshirt. Margaret used to say it made me look like a retired professor. I guess she was right. I had spent 32 years teaching high school history before finally retiring. My phone sat quietly on the counter. No messages. At my age, birthdays aren't really celebrated anymore. They're just reminders that you're lucky to still be here. Around noon, the doorbell rang. My daughter Evelyn was standing on the porch, holding a large gift bag with a bright yellow bow. She smiled, but it was the careful smile she'd been wearing all year, ever since she started dating that man. "Happy birthday, Dad," she said as she stepped inside and handed me the bag. "I wanted to get you something special this year." I opened it and pulled out a sleek tablet, still sealed in its box. One of those expensive ones with a large screen. It must have cost you at least $800. "Evelyn, this is too much." "You deserve it," she said, kissing my cheek. "Mom always said you needed to keep up with the times. Now you can video call me, read your books, check your investments, everything in one place." I held the box and felt something break open in my chest. She remembered. After everything, after Margaret's death, after my retirement, after the distance that had grown between us, my daughter remembered my birthday. Suddenly, I wasn't in my kitchen anymore. I was standing in our old backyard in Burlington, 30 years ago. Evelyn was 8 years old, running across the grass toward me with a homemade card in her hand. She had drawn a picture of us together, 2 stick figures holding hands under a bright yellow sun. "I made this for you, Daddy," she said, out of breath and smiling. "Because you're the best dad in the whole world." Margaret stood on the deck, one hand resting on her pregnant belly. Our son Michael would be born 3 months later. Back then, everything was ahead of us. Everything felt possible. The memory faded, and I was back in my kitchen, 68 years old, holding a tablet I didn't know how to use. "Thank you, sweetheart," I said. "This means more than you know." Evelyn stayed for lunch. We ate sandwiches at the kitchen table while she asked about my health, my sleep, and whether I was keeping up with my doctor's appointments. They were normal, caring questions. Still, something about her tone felt practiced, as if she were going through a checklist. After she left, I spent the afternoon trying to use the tablet. I managed to turn it on and set up an account. The screen was large, which helped my aging eyes. That night, I plugged it into charge and felt a warmth I hadn't felt in months. My daughter was thinking about me. Maybe we could rebuild what we had lost. I had no idea I had just placed a surveillance device inside my home. The following Thursday, I drove to my grandson's apartment in downtown Toronto. Daniel was my son Michael's boy, 27 years old and sharp as a tack. He worked in cybersecurity for one of the major banks. I wanted him to help me set up my email and show me how to use video calling. Daniel made coffee while I explained my trouble with the tablet. He listened patiently, the way young people sometimes do with older folks. It was a gentle kindness that made me feel both thankful and small. "Let me take a look, Grandpa," he said. He picked up the tablet and started tapping and swiping. "I'll get everything set up for you." I watched him work while sipping my coffee. His apartment was small but neat. Daniel was doing well for himself. His father, my son Michael, lived in Vancouver with his wife and 2 children. We talked on the phone every few weeks, but the distance made it hard to stay close. Then Daniel's expression changed. I noticed it right away. His eyes tightened slightly, and his thumb stopped moving. "Grandpa, where did you get this?" he asked. "Your Aunt Evelyn gave it to me for my birthday." He didn't answer. He just kept staring at the screen, moving through menus I couldn't understand. "Daniel, is everything okay?" He looked up at me, and I saw something I had never seen on my grandson's face before: fear. "Did Aunt Evelyn set this up for you before she gave it to you?" "I don't think so," I said. "It was sealed in the box." "It wasn't," he replied flatly. "Someone configured this before you opened it. They installed monitoring software, professional grade, the kind we see in corporate spying cases." My coffee went cold in my hands. "What are you saying?" Daniel placed the tablet down carefully, as if it might explode. "I'm saying someone can see everything you do on this device. Every website you visit, every password you type, every email you send. They can turn on the camera and microphone remotely. They can watch you, Grandpa, listen to you inside your own home." The room felt like it was spinning. I set my mug down before I dropped it. "That's not possible," I said. "Evelyn gave me this. My daughter." Daniel's jaw tightened. "I know what I'm looking at. I do this for a living. This software didn't install itself." "Maybe it came from the manufacturer," I said. "Some kind of defect." "No," he said, shaking his head. "This was done on purpose. Someone carefully set this device up to spy on you before it was wrapped in birthday paper." I stared at the tablet on his coffee table. It looked harmless, just glass, metal, and wires. A gift from my daughter. "What do I do?" I asked. Daniel was already reaching for his phone. We called the police. The next morning, we met Detective Sarah Chen at the Toronto Police Service Financial Crimes Unit. She was in her mid-40s, with a serious expression and eyes that had clearly seen too much. Daniel had made copies of everything he found on the tablet. Detective Chen reviewed his files carefully, asking technical questions I couldn't understand. Daniel answered each one calmly and precisely, like someone used to testifying in court. Finally, she turned to me. "Mr. Morrison," she said, "your grandson is correct. This device was set up as a surveillance tool before you received it." "Whoever did this has access to everything," Detective Chen said. "Your location, your messages, and your financial information, especially if you've logged into any banking websites." "I haven't," I said. "Thank God for my lack of technical skills." "What does this mean?" I asked. "What should I do?" Detective Chen leaned back in her chair. "First, I need to ask you a few questions. Does anyone have a financial reason to monitor you? Do you own property, investments, or life insurance?" I thought carefully. My teacher's pension wasn't large, but it was steady. The house in Oakville was now worth nearly $2 million. Margaret and I had saved responsibly. I had investments, RRSPs, a fully paid-off home, and a life insurance policy worth $750,000. The money was meant to be divided between my children, Evelyn and Michael. "I'm comfortable," I said slowly. "Not rich, but comfortable." Detective Chen nodded, as if she had expected that answer. "Mr. Morrison," she said, "I'm going to be honest with you. In my experience, when family members place surveillance devices on older relatives, it's rarely done out of innocent curiosity. There's usually a bigger plan. Older relatives. The words hurt. Was that who I was now? Someone to be watched and controlled? What kind of plan? I asked. Financial exploitation. Guardianship fraud. Abuse of power of attorney, she said calmly. Someone is trying to gain access to your assets, and they're gathering information to make that possible. Daniel placed his hand on my arm. Grandpa, who gave you the tablet? I couldn't say it. I couldn't force the words out. Detective Chen said them for me. Your daughter, Evelyn Morrison. I drove home in a daze that afternoon. The tablet remained sealed in a police evidence bag back at Detective Chen's office. She had asked me not to confront anyone yet so they could investigate properly. Act normal, she told me. Don't let anyone know that you know. I parked in my driveway and sat there for a long time, staring at the house Margaret and I had bought 40 years earlier. We had raised our children there. We celebrated holidays, birthdays, and graduations within those walls. Margaret had planted the rose bushes by the front door the year Evelyn was born. My daughter. My firstborn. The little girl who made Father's Day cards from construction paper and dried macaroni. The teenager I helped through heartbreak and homework. The woman who held my hand at Margaret's funeral and promised me everything would be okay. That woman wanted to watch me. Monitor my life. But why? I went inside, made dinner I couldn't taste, and went to bed early. I didn't sleep. I lay awake in the dark, staring at the ceiling and listening to the house creak and settle around me. Detective Chen called 3 days later, on a Tuesday morning. Mr. Morrison, are you sitting down? She asked. I lowered myself into a kitchen chair. I am now. We've been investigating your daughter's recent activities, her financial records, communications, and known associates, she said. Then she paused. Are you aware that Evelyn is in a relationship with a man named Victor Reinhold? The name sounded familiar. Evelyn had mentioned him once or twice, casually, the way you mention a coworker or a neighbor. She's dating someone, I said. I've never met him. Victor Reinhold has a criminal record in British Columbia, Chen said. Fraud and elder financial abuse. He served 18 months in a provincial prison after exploiting a 73-year-old woman in Victoria. He convinced her to sign over power of attorney, then drained her accounts, nearly $200,000. My hands began to shake. That's not all, Chen continued. We subpoenaed additional records. Mr. Morrison, did you recently change the beneficiary on your life insurance policy? No, I said. According to Canada Life, the beneficiary was changed 7 months ago. Your son Michael was removed completely. Evelyn is now the sole beneficiary for the full $750,000. The kitchen felt like it was spinning. I gripped the edge of the table. I never signed anything. We suspected that, Chen said. The signature on file doesn't match your known samples. Someone forged your name. I couldn't speak. I could barely breathe. There's more, she said. We found evidence that someone has been asking about guardianship proceedings in Ontario, specifically about having you declared mentally incapable of managing your own affairs. Mentally incapable. The words hit me like a punch. On what grounds? I asked. That's what we need your help to find out, Chen said. Mr. Morrison, I know this is painful, but if we're going to build a case, we need proof of intent. We need to know what they're planning and why. She explained what she wanted me to do. I was to keep using the tablet as if nothing was wrong. Let them believe the surveillance was still working. Carefully share information and watch how they reacted. You want me to spy on my own daughter? I asked. I want you to protect yourself, Chen replied, before she takes everything you have. That night, I sat alone in my living room with the tablet resting on my lap. Detective Chen had returned it to me, now altered so her team could see who was watching me, a trap inside a trap. I turned it on and began to speak. Not to anyone in the room, but to whoever might be listening on the other end. I've been thinking about the house lately, I said aloud, making sure the microphone could hear me. It's too big for one person. Maybe I should sell it. Downsize to a condo. Get my affairs in order. The words tasted like ash in my mouth, but I kept going. The doctor says I've been forgetting things, I said. Maybe I should get some help. I can't manage everything on my own anymore. They were lies. All of them. My memory was still sharp. My health was good for a man my age. But now I was playing a role, the confused old man who needed supervision. The vulnerable senior who couldn't handle his own affairs. I was giving them exactly what they wanted to hear. The response came faster than I expected. Evelyn called the next morning, her voice bright and cheerful. Dad, I was just thinking about you. How are you feeling? Oh, I said, letting my voice shake slightly. Getting old. Some days are better than others. I worry about you being alone in that big house, she said. Have you thought about what we discussed? Maybe looking at some options. We hadn't discussed anything, but I played along. I've been thinking about it, I said. You might be right. Maybe it's time to make some changes. That's so good to hear, Dad, she said. I could hear the relief in her voice, excitement she tried to hide. I could come by this weekend and help you look at a few things. Financial planning, maybe get everything organized. That would be nice, sweetheart. After she hung up, I sat very still for a long time. Then I called Detective Chen and told her everything. Evelyn arrived on Saturday with a folder full of documents and that same careful smile. She spread the papers across my kitchen table while I made tea, acting like a father who needed guidance. I've been doing some research, she said. There are some wonderful retirement communities nearby. Full-service places. They take care of everything for you. I looked at the brochures, assisted living centers, memory care units, places where the elderly are stored away once they become inconvenient. And I spoke with a lawyer friend, she continued, about setting up a power of attorney. Just in case. So someone can help manage things if you ever need it. Power of attorney, I repeated slowly, as if I didn't understand. It's just paperwork, she said, sliding a document toward me. A precaution. You'd still be in control. I'd just be able to help if you needed it. I looked at the form. Then I looked at my daughter's hopeful face. This was the woman I had held as a baby. The woman I walked down the aisle. The woman who cried in my arms when her mother died. Now she wanted to take my life away, one signature at a time. I don't know, Evelyn, I said. This is a lot to think about. Of course, she said, patting my hand. No pressure. Just think about it. We can talk again next week. After she left, I photographed every document she had brought and sent the images to Detective Chen. Then I went down to the basement and did something I should have done weeks earlier. I started going through my own files. The filing cabinet had belonged to Margaret. She had been the organized one. She kept records of everything, insurance papers, tax returns, property documents. After she died, I couldn't bring myself to touch it. I left everything exactly as she had arranged it, like a quiet memorial to her careful mind. Now I went through it slowly and methodically, box by box, folder by folder. I found what I was looking for in the back of the bottom drawer. A plain manila folder that didn't match Margaret's neat labeling system. No label at all. It was stuffed between old utility bills, almost hidden. I opened it on the workbench, and my blood ran cold. Inside were medical assessment forms already filled out with my personal information, but listing symptoms I had never had. Memory loss. Confusion. Difficulty managing daily tasks. The checkboxes were lightly marked in pencil, as if someone were preparing for a doctor's appointment that hadn't happened yet. There were also guardianship petition templates. Ontario government forms used to declare someone incapable of managing their own affairs. My name was already typed into the blanks. There were financial documents too, printouts of my bank accounts, investment portfolios, and the deed to my house. Whoever had done this knew exactly what I owned. They had been very thorough. At the bottom of the stack was a handwritten note. I recognized the handwriting immediately. I had been reading it on birthday cards and Christmas letters for 43 years. Timeline the note said. Stage 1 establish pattern of confusion, October to December. Stage 2 get power of attorney signed, January. Stage 3 file for guardianship, February. Stage 4 access accounts, sell house, spring. At the bottom, one final line. V says we need to move faster. Dad's health is good. Window closing. V. Victor. The man she was dating. The convicted fraudster. My daughter had written a step-by-step plan to erase me. Suddenly, I wasn't in the basement anymore. I was in our backyard 25 years earlier. Evelyn stood beside me at the barbecue, about 18 years old, home from her first year at university. "Dad," she said, watching the burgers cook, "I don't know if I can do this. University is hard. Everyone seems smarter than me." I had put my arm around her shoulders. "Evelyn, you are exactly where you're meant to be. You worked hard to get there. Don't let anyone make you feel less than you are." She leaned into me. "Thanks, Dad. I don't know what I'd do without you." "You'll never have to find out," I told her. The memory shattered. I was back in the basement, holding proof that my daughter wanted to destroy me. I carefully gathered everything and photographed every page. Then I called Detective Chen. "I found their plan," I said. "Everything. The timeline. All of it." The next 2 weeks were the longest of my life. Detective Chen worked with her team, collecting more evidence, legally monitoring Evelyn's communications, and building a case that would stand up in court. Meanwhile, I kept playing my role, the confused old man, the vulnerable senior who needed help. Evelyn came by twice more. Each visit, she pushed a little harder. She brought more documents, asked more questions about my finances, my health, my future plans. "You seem tired lately, Dad," she said during her second visit. "More forgetful than usual." I hadn't been forgetful at all, but I nodded anyway. "Maybe you're right," I said quietly. "Maybe it's time to let someone else handle things." Her eyes lit up. "I've been talking to a lawyer," she said. "We could set something up. Take the burden off your shoulders." "When?" I asked. "I was thinking next week," she replied. "We could go together. Get everything signed and official." "All right," I said. "Let's do it." She hugged me before leaving, holding on longer than usual. "This is for the best, Dad. You'll see." I watched her drive away and felt nothing but cold. That night, I received a message from Detective Chen. Her team had intercepted a conversation between Evelyn and Victor. The audio was unclear, but the meaning was unmistakable. "He's going to sign next week," Evelyn said. "The power of attorney. Everything's good." Victor's voice was calm and confident. "Once you have POA, we move to the next phase. Guardianship application. Capacity assessment. By spring, you'll have full control." "And then?" Evelyn asked. "And then we liquidate," Victor said. "The house alone is worth nearly 2 million. His investments are another 800,000. And the life insurance, when the time comes." There was a pause. "He's my father, Victor," Evelyn said, her voice smaller now. "He's an old man sitting on money he'll never use." "Think about it," Victor replied. "Your debts are gone. Your business is saved. You get a fresh start. All you have to do is sign a few papers." "What if he finds out?" Evelyn asked. Victor laughed. "He won't. He's old." He barely knows how to use that tablet. By the time he figures anything out, it'll be too late. The recording ended.
I sat alone in my dark living room, listening to my daughter plan to steal my life. Asterisk, my debts cleared. A fresh start. Asterisk. I hadn't known Evelyn was in financial trouble. I didn't know her business was failing. She never told me. If she had asked, I would have helped her. I would have given her whatever she needed. I was her father. But she didn't ask. She chose to take. Detective Chen called the following Monday. "We're ready," she said. "The meeting with the lawyer, we'll be there." On Wednesday morning, I drove to the law office with steady hands. Evelyn was waiting in the parking lot, smiling brightly. "Ready to get this done, Dad?" "Ready as I'll ever be," I said. We went inside together. The office was on the 3rd floor, a small firm that handled estate planning and family law. Evelyn had chosen it. I wondered how much Victor had influenced that choice. The receptionist led us into a conference room. A man in a grey suit was already waiting. "Robert Crane," he said, shaking my hand. "I'm Evelyn's legal contact. Mr. Morrison, it's so good to finally meet you. Evelyn has told me so much about you." He spread documents across the table. Power of attorney forms, banking permissions, healthcare directives. Everything someone would need to take full control of another person's life. "If you'll just sign here," Crane said, pointing to the first page, "and here, and initial here." I picked up the pen. I looked at the papers. Then I looked at my daughter's hopeful face. "Before I sign anything," I said calmly, "I'd like to understand exactly what I'm agreeing to." Evelyn's smile flickered. "It's just standard paperwork, Dad." "We went over this, did we?" I said quietly. I set the pen down. "Because I don't remember discussing how you planned to have me declared mentally incapable. Or how you changed my life insurance beneficiary without my knowledge. Or how your boyfriend, Victor, went to prison for doing this exact thing to another family." The color drained from Evelyn's face. "Dad, I don't know what you're talking about," she said. The conference room door opened. Detective Chen walked in, followed by 2 uniformed police officers. "Evelyn Morrison," Chen said, "you are under arrest for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit elder abuse. You have the right to retain and instruct legal counsel without delay." Evelyn jumped up so fast her chair fell backward. "This is insane," she shouted. "Dad, tell them this is a mistake." I looked at her, at the fear in her eyes, at the woman she had become. "It's not a mistake," I said calmly. "I heard everything, Evelyn. The phone calls with Victor. Your plans for my house, my savings, my insurance. I know about the timeline you wrote. I know all of it." "That's not fair, Victor made me," she broke down crying. "Daddy, please. I was in trouble. I owed money. Victor said this was the only way. I never wanted to hurt you." One of the officers took her arm. She struggled for a moment, then went still. "Daddy," she said again, her voice broken. "Please. I'm your daughter." I thought of the little girl in the backyard. The teenager I helped with homework. The woman who held my hand at Margaret's funeral. "My daughter would have asked for help," I said. "My daughter would have trusted me. You decided I was worth more as a victim than as a father." They led her away. I stayed alone in the conference room, staring at the unsigned papers and listening to the echo of her crying fade down the hallway. Victor Reinhold was arrested later that afternoon at his apartment in Mississauga. He tried to run and made it as far as the elevator before police caught him. He had been packing, ready to disappear once the power of attorney was signed. The investigation lasted for months. By winter, the full truth was clear. Victor had been targeting vulnerable seniors for years. He used romantic relationships to find partners with access to family wealth. Evelyn wasn't his first accomplice, just the most recent. She owed Victor $230,000. Failed business loans. Gambling debts she had hidden from everyone. Credit cards maxed out to keep up appearances. Victor paid off her most urgent debts, then demanded repayment in the way he preferred, access to her family's assets. My assets. My life. My freedom. The trial took place in April. I didn't attend. I couldn't sit in a courtroom and watch my daughter be judged, even if she deserved it. Victor received 7 years in federal prison for fraud, conspiracy, and exploitation of a vulnerable person. His past crimes worked against him. Evelyn received a suspended sentence, 2 years of probation, full repayment of the money she had taken from my accounts, and a permanent criminal record. The judge cited her cooperation and lack of prior convictions. Afterward, I filed a restraining order. No calls. No visits. No letters. I changed my life insurance beneficiary to my son Michael and my grandchildren. I updated my will and changed every password and account number I had. Daniel helped me install new security systems, door cameras, financial alerts, safeguards everywhere. The careful habits of a man who learned too late that trust can be used as a weapon. That summer, my son Michael flew in from Vancouver. We sat on my back deck, watching the sun set over the garden Margaret had planted years ago. I still can't believe Evelyn would do this, he said. I keep thinking there must be some explanation. There is, I said. Desperation. Debt. A manipulative man who made it seem easy. None of it excuses what she did, but I understand how it happened. Do you miss her? He asked. I thought for a long time before answering. I miss who she was, or who I thought she was, I said. The woman who tried to take my freedom. I don't know her at all. Michael placed his hand on my shoulder, and we sat there together until the stars appeared. I turned 69 alone. No gifts this year. I preferred it that way. The house feels different now, quieter. I've thought about selling it and starting over somewhere new, a place without memories in every room. But Margaret's roses still bloom every spring. And if I close my eyes, the kitchen still smells like her Sunday morning cooking. Some mornings, I wake up and forget what happened. For a few seconds, everything feels normal. Then the memory returns, and the weight settles back onto my chest. If you've stayed with me this far, I want you to understand something. I'm not sharing this story for sympathy. I'm sharing it because it could happen to anyone. Elder financial abuse is one of the fastest growing crimes in Canada. According to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, seniors lose hundreds of millions of dollars every year to fraud, much of it committed by family members. The people we trust the most can sometimes hurt us the worst. Here are the warning signs I wish I had noticed earlier. Please pay attention. They might save you or someone you love. First, be cautious of unexpected gifts that seem too generous. If someone gives you an expensive electronic device, ask why. Ask who benefits from you being connected, monitored, or easily reached. Second, be alert if a family member suddenly becomes very interested in your finances. Questions about your bank accounts, investments, or insurance may come from care, or they may be gathering information. Third, notice if someone starts questioning your memory or abilities. If a relative keeps suggesting you're confused or incapable, ask yourself whether it's true or whether they are creating a story to serve their own purpose.